When you go to another part of the world, you realize that many things that are completely normal in your country, well, in another place, they're not so normal. In this case, it happens to me with Spain. There are many things in Spain that are very different from Cuba. Of course, Cuba has a pretty complex situation, as you know, so stay tuned to this video. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, I'm Anita, a Cuban living in Spain, and I post YouTube videos every Friday. Subscribe now, if not, the video is over. Just kidding, in today's video, I'm visiting Cuba again. Why? Just because? That's a question people ask a lot now, Anita. Why did you go to Cuba again and Cuba again so soon? Well, personal things of mine, just enjoy the channel. Today we're going to talk about a topic that came to my mind here because I have a special guest who is one of my best friends. She also started a YouTube channel because, well, you know how things are here in Cuba, and sometimes it seems to help you distress. This YouTube channel thing really helped me de-stress from problems and the Cuban reality. It's kept me busy. And well, my best friend here in Cuba also started her own channel. So let me introduce her to you, Amanda. Her channel is It's called Ami Mom because, well, she's a mother and she also talks about what it's like to be a mother here in Cuba and all those things. So I'll leave her channel here in a pinned comment and also written here so you can go follow her. My friend and I are going to make a video together today about some things since I'm in Spain and she's still living in Cuba. Things that are normal to see here in Cuba but in Spain are frowned upon or are very strange. So stay tuned, subscribe because this video is going to be very interesting. Let's see, one of the things that is super normal in Cuba and well in Spain you don't see this kind of thing are the garbage bins. Here you can see a street and on no street are there garbage containers. That just doesn't exist here. And people throw their trash in any corner. I mean, they just decide this corner is for trash. I don't know how often the garbage truck comes by.
The problem is the fuel.
Yes.
Due to the fuel type, it's not permitted. They don't have enough fuel to supply to go to the whole city, so they give very little. That was the explanation they gave me once, so they can't come as they should, and they come. Look at how that one is.
So, I mean, I'm going to show you how the trash looks from here. It's very unhygienic and unpleasant to look at, but that's the reality here. I mean, that's the trash. That's where all the neighbors on the block throw their trash. There are no containers, and at least it's all piled up in one place, rather than each person putting a little bag of trash at their own door.
In Manizan, there have never been containers, but in Havana, there are.
In Havana, there are.
Yes, the big green containers, but here, no, that's terrible. It's there all day, and now at night, the dogs get into it and make a mess. Well, that's how it looks.
Amanda is also an industrial engineer. We studied together here. And what do you do for work right now so people know more? I mean, what do you do? Who are you?
I mentioned it in one of my videos. I think it was the second one that, well, I studied industrial engineering, but I don't practice it. I'm working in my own business from home, where I work on eyebrow aesthetics. I also do some hair stuff, like keratin treatments and so on, and that's what I do for now.
And why aren't you an engineer? Why don't you practice it? The video explains it well. If you want to see it, go check it out there. Actually, it all comes down to financial life. I didn't have the financial life that I needed, even now that I'm a mother and a Cuban mother. And so I made the decision, and because I also like everything related to aesthetics, I feel fulfilled. Well, one thing that's super normal in Cuba, but that I don't see, or that I think is a bit more common in Spain, is walking around drinking on the street. You can walk down the street here drinking a beer. Even young people sit right here on this little wall at night with their bottle. That's true, I know it exists in Spain, but from what I understand, drinking alcoholic beverages on the street isn't legal. You can get fined or something like that. But in Cuba, it's completely normal. Like, we've even done it ourselves.
Also, on the corners of different neighborhoods here, all the young people sit down to play dominoes. They have their drinks and so on.
Yes, that's something that I, for example, haven't really done in Spain. There, I only drink if I go to a bar, but drinking out on the street and so on, I mean, I haven't seen that and I don't really like doing it either, but here it's very normal to do so.
They do it. I mean, because as far as I know, it's not allowed by law either.
Yeah?
But not here.
People do it anyway.
Because in the end, that's how everything is here.
In Cuba, it's common to see men walking around shirtless in the street, which is not typical in Spain. It's considered totally normal to see someone walking around without a shirt in public. That's also due to the intense heat and related factors, but You're not supposed to do that and can get fined, but people still do it. In Spain, for example, people only go shirtless at the beach.
Yes,
But on regular streets, you don't see shirtless people.
more like in beach areas, which they still do here.
Here, people ride motorcycles on the street without wearing shirts.
Cubans are very bold, as they always have been.
But yes, here they do. They even drive.
It's wrong, but people still do it. They drive shirtless and go to places with inappropriate clothing even when it's not allowed. I've seen people, including women, go to state-run workplaces in shorts despite it being against the rules.
Of course, well, it's also really hot. It's a bit understandable in that sense. But still, there are rules that have to be respected, including dress codes. But here, we Cubans are very easygoing. And well, in the end, people just do whatever they want. In those aspects, because there are other things, well, where you can't just do whatever you want. It was one of the things, now that I live in Spain, that always surprises me a lot when I come back here to Cuba. It's that the cars, as we say here, the cars, but here in Cuba we call them carros, don't have seatbelts. Here, people go about their lives like this in cars without seatbelts. Even in the front, some cars, the more modern ones, do have seatbelts, but in the back they don't, and people don't wear them. After living in Spain, I got used to wearing a seatbelt. When I first arrived, I didn't wear it, but they always told me, put it on because here you'll get fined, and it's you who gets fined for not wearing it, not the driver. And so I got used to wearing it. And so when I come to visit Cuba, I always go like, oh, there's no seatbelt. And sometimes when I'm in the front, I feel really scared because I'm already used to needing a seatbelt. Besides, it's for safety. And also, since there are so many old cars from the 50s, those cars don't have seatbelts either. Our trip is incredibly long, spanning kilometers, and the whole time we're without seatbelts. Honestly, it's really scary. Although here, cars don't go as fast as they do. For example, in Spain, people drive much faster there. Here, they go slower. But still, that's something that really scares me. And I don't know, I think it's dangerous. What do you think about this seatbelt thing? Wearing a seatbelt is mandatory in many countries, even if it's not required in Cuba.
Of course, it's required here too, but like you said, there are a lot of old cars here that don't have seatbelts. Particularly in the back seats, seatbelts are often missing. And that's something that, especially when it comes to the little girl, worries me. Because, well, in other countries, I've seen that they have their own seatbelt for children.
In Spain, children must use strollers, just like babies. Failing to put a little girl in a baby stroller can result in a fine.
Yes, I've heard of many people who have been fined for that because they don't put the... And here they don't. Every time I'm with the little girl, I always hold her because they can run off being so little. And yes, here that's not... There's no custom for any of that. And here they don't fine you like they do over there, which is how it should be because, well, in the end, you were the one who did it.
That's what I've been told. I don't know if it's true, but that's what they told me.
Yes, but I have heard about it. I've seen videos where they say, yes, it's the person who committed the act. Here, no, here it's the driver. Here, they give the ticket to the driver.
Look, there's a custom that we Cubans have, and for example, I don't do that in Spain. It's throwing water in the house and pouring water on the street. Here, it's super normal. The way we clean houses in Cuba is by throwing water everywhere, and it's very normal for people to then throw that water out onto the street. While walking, be cautious as a stream of water may unexpectedly fall on your head, which is considered normal. What's going on there in Spain? Me? That you shouldn't throw water because it can ruin certain types of flooring, like the wooden floor I have, Initially, it can be challenging to adjust as it's a habit you've had since birth. My childhood game was my mom cleaning, throwing water, and me scrubbing the floor like this. That's something you grow up with, and then you go to another country, and well, it's not like that there.
Cubans who don't throw water feel like they're not really cleaning.
Yes, it's like we feel we're not cleaning if we don't throw water. Do you throw the water out into the street?
Yes. I actually live on the second floor.
She lives on the second floor.
Yes, I'm careful because it's happened to me that I almost got someone wet, so I'm a bit careful.
Another thing that's super common in Cuba and that I don't see in Spain are the street vendors. Street vendors are those people who sell anything and walk around the streets. Garlic, onion, and you can find them at any time, not just in the morning, even at dawn. There are people who go around selling garlic, onion, bread, sweets, pastries, root vegetables, and many other items are available from numerous street vendors. I haven't seen that in Spain. For example, on my street, the baker comes by, but they're not shouting baker. Bread trucks have a distinct whistle, and they deliver bread on the block, but it's different from how it is here. I'm unsure if these things existed in Spain long ago. Here, we're somewhat behind the times. Regardless, these things are still present here. And sometimes you miss it. You miss the baker passing by or the guy selling garlic near your house. Over there, you go to the supermarket or the stores and everything is there, nice and calm, nobody shouting in the street. Well, but anyway, there are Cuban people who leave and do miss that. What do you think about the street vendors? Would you miss them if you left Cuba? Wouldn't you miss it? It's just that one just passed by at 8 in the morning selling pizza.
No, especially with all the recent blackouts. They've even come by selling coconuts at home during power outages as late as 11 or 12 at night. Selling coconuts, bread, and many other items. It didn't bother me much before, but since having my daughter, my room near the hallway at the front of the house means you hear everything. Sometimes my few-month-old girl would start jumping in her crib thinking she was further inside. The constant shouting bothered me, as it happened all the time, with the same yelling, even in the hallway. As I mentioned, in many rural houses, it felt like you were inside the room when they stopped there. Perhaps they miss it, at least in part, because just imagine, since birth, they've been hearing the baker, the garlic seller, and who knows what else. Maybe that's why, but...
And just like there are all the street vendors, there are also people who play really loud music late at night. And it's not like in Spain. When I arrived in Spain, they first told me not to make noise after 10 post meridian as it bothers the neighbors, and they'll call the police. Here, some people play very loud music in their homes at 2 anti-meridian. They're having a party, but nothing eventful occurs. Because it's kind of normal, people play really loud music during the day, at night, in the afternoon. Loud, loud, loud. In fact, that's what the memes say, like the average Latina on the internet cleaning her house with really loud music. I think that's something...
They burst your eardrum, the kind that does so.
I think that's something very much ours, very Caribbean especially. And well, you play loud music. I used to play loud music, but in Spain I don't anymore. In Spain I try to keep it really low. Sometimes I step outside the house, close the door to see how it sounds from outside, just to make sure it doesn't sound too loud because I'm afraid of bothering others. But when I was in Cuba cleaning, the music was very loud.
By law, music should only play until midnight. After 12, you must turn it down. And if a neighbor or someone complains, they can. But as I said, and no one pays attention to that, the blackouts last from midnight until 1, 2, or even 3 anti-meridium. Picture a blackout with complete silence on a block and a domino table on the corner. Speaker.
But there are a lot of people who miss that, also the really loud music and all that.
Luckily, my little girl is used to it. She was born with it. She has to adapt. I was born with the blackouts. I was born with the uvea. Well, she's already used to it, all of that.
Something that happens in Cuba, which deeply saddens me due to my sentimentality towards animals, is the following. It's just that here there have always been a lot of stray dogs. And one of the first things that surprised me when I arrived in Spain was that there were no stray dogs. I like seeing stray dogs on the streets of Cuba. It's normal here and has always been that way, unlike other places. In fact, if you want a dog, you see a female dog that has had puppies, she's in the park and you just take a puppy and bring it home. I did that many times, bringing dogs home that I found in the park. And a lot of people do it because there are so many stray dogs. And honestly, that's something that makes me sad because, I don't know. Cats are different from stray dogs due to their distinct personalities. Stray dogs will actively beg for food from people. In fact, right here, which is an area with a lot of bars, further down where people go out, there are a lot of stray dogs and people do give them food and water. However, some are extremely skinny and mistreated, which is truly sad.
My own dog, who used to be a stray.
The little dog she had was a stray.
Yes.
And she developed traumas.
Good times. Yes, a lot of traumas. Her nervousness around cars, buses, and big vehicles is a result of that. She seems terrified of them.
But the dogs here know how to cross the street independently.
All by themselves.
Yes, they know how to cross the street, and they don't...
But here, too, the association has helped a lot.
The Cuban Animal Welfare Association tries to help, but they lack resources, making it difficult to assist so many animals in need.
They have a struggle. They are constantly living with a struggle they can't overcome. They can't handle so much due to a lack of necessary support, and they simply aren't able to.
I'm also going to leave you in the description, in a pinned comment, the Instagram of the association that helps the puppies here in Cuba, in case anyone wants to help or something like that. I also help from time to time because I feel really sorry about that.
Well, I have noticed that compared to previous years, it's a little better because before you would find there were just too many. And it's accepted that there are a little more.
They have helped a great deal, but there isn't really a law here.
And these people here from the bars, they do have their coalito that says management. It really does. And here they really help a lot. All the bars, every day, food, water, they have their... I've gone to some bars that even have they place small dishes in the corner with water and all the necessities.
concludes today's brief video, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this collaboration with my friend Amanda, who was dying to do a collaboration together. She started her own YouTube channel and we've been longtime friends. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channels for new videos every Friday. And comment down below which of these things surprised you the most. I mean, things that are totally normal in Cuba. And for example, since I live in Spain, now I see and notice the difference much more. Tell me what surprised you the most about this. And well, that's it. Remember to subscribe, like, and all that stuff. I'm sending you all a big kiss. Bye.